What's good, everybody? It's Elufusjames here with Big Mike on the phone. Big Mike's on the road right now. Big Mike, what's going on, man?
Chilling, doing grown-up stuff.
Yeah, we gotta do what we gotta do. Pay the bills. Make sure we get the money to pay the bills. And anytime we have the opportunity to relax, we relax.
Yeah.
First of all, we want to say due to scheduling constraints, specifically me heading out to North Carolina last week, and Mike doing adult things like he said, we weren't able to get a podcast in, but we're back. Just 1 week, not like the 3 months we took off last year. So this podcast, like we said, we're going to do last week. We're going to talk about the Central Division a little bit, along with a couple more board bets on the running back side of things. So just talking about the Central Division, Mike, it's really set up like a two-man race. You got the Dusters, which includes yourself, See What's Going, which is Terrace, London Knights, owned by Kyle, and Reasonable Doubt, owned by Dami. So the two teams in this division has really stood out has been the Dusters and Going. Over the past 3 years, and we're looking at this in 3-year increments because we reset every 3 years, See What's Going has had the better seasonal winning percentage at .595, and Dusters is second at .547. Then right after that, Reasonable Doubt at .452, and London Knights at .285.
Yeah, that paints an ugly picture for London Knights, don't it?
It does. He didn't have too good of a season last year. Like I said, 2-12. He was last on the top 12, and it was sort of unfortunate. He had some projects, and Carson Palmer not playing like he should have. That definitely doesn't help the cause.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, after a while, an owner has got to take full responsibility for his team. Now, if you are an observer, a spectator on our games, or if you're a different owner in the league, you can decide for yourself at which point that is. But after an owner has a certain amount of experience, you kind of have to say, okay, well, regardless of what went wrong, what could you have done to prepare better?
Right.
Big case in point, I like Carson Palmer as a player, but I'm not drafting a quarterback at his age without having a backup plan. And I know that most of us, myself included, don't want to really carry two quarterbacks, but I wouldn't draft Cam Newton without a backup plan either. Man gets hit a lot. Man runs the ball. I wouldn't draft Tom Brady without a backup plan for that matter. He's 40. Bad things happen. He's been hurt before. He can get hurt again.
Right.
So if you aren't drafting a young quarterback that plays behind a solid line, like a Matt Ryan, as an owner, take responsibility.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he accepts that fact. It might have just been he thought about it too late. No way to tell, not in his head, but at the same time, it was just horrible season overall last year, so I'm pretty sure they're looking to bounce back.
And it happens to everybody, right? I've had terrible seasons. Luck breaks bad for everybody, just like it breaks good for most of us sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
But you got to learn from it,
Oh, yeah. He's definitely licking his wounds because, over previous seasons, 6-8 in 2015, 8-6 back in 2013, and 7-7 back in 2012. So it was the first rough year for him. Didn't really know how to handle it, and like you say, you live, you lick your wounds, you move on.
Yep.
Now, another interesting finding that I found in this division was that this was the division with the most 8-6 or 7-7 records recorded in this whole league.
I have a guess for why that is, like a mathematically based guess.
What you thinking?
We probably have 3 out of 4 owners in that division who have risk-averse drafting styles.
Explain that, risk averse.
Well, there's in any game be made without perfect information. You can always approach those decision points with a high risk, high reward style, a low risk, low reward style, or something in between. But choices, player and owner inputs allow you to maximize profit, sometimes by increasing variance. And I think we have the kind of owners who are willing to, for example, in an auction, distribute their money more evenly. In a snake draft, avoid stars and scrubs type strategies. And so you don't get as many championships necessarily, but you also have teams who consistently have an opportunity to win,
Right.
And that's the theory. I haven't looked at the numbers, but that's what I would expect when you tell me that we have a high number of run-of-the-mill, somewhat mediocre finishes.
Yeah, out of the 4 teams, see what's going as far as the past 5 years, the only team that had a double-digit record as far as wins. And they went 11-3 back in 2014, which was the first redraft, actually the first draft of the auction as far as redraft when we were reshuffle, which leads me to my board bet, starting with See What's Going. I believe that See What's Going in this new division, in this new format, will actually have over 9 wins in this season. And here's why. I feel like, looking at the schedule, Going has a pretty balanced schedule. They've been known to, really push the envelope on getting a top flight player, whether it is a running back or wide receiver. It's proven what he did for Le'Veon Bell. He did catch a gin last year with Devontae Freeman, but Going is no slouch. I mean, 7-7, 7-7, 11-3. This past 3 years, with Le'Veon Bell doing all types of stupid crap, smoking, knee going the wrong way, all that neat stuff.
You still there, Ely? You just cut out on me a little bit.
Yeah, I'm here. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I was just saying, he's able to get 2 500 records and 11-3 record with Le'Veon Bell missing, at least 10 games over the past 3 years? So, he will have a tough run in the division, but I feel like he'll do enough to get at least 9 wins.
Well, let me add something to that board bet, and I'll take it. If he gets less than 10 wins, he won't make the playoffs.
All right, so less than 10 wins, he will not make the playoffs.
Yeah, because you're saying you expect more than 9. And I'm saying if he gets less than 10, I don't think he'll make the playoffs, and I'll tell you why. What I expect from him, now that our rosters are being reset and we have to redraft the whole team, I expect him to draft to his style, right?
Right.
So basically, if it works, the past has shown us that it generally works well. But we've also seen See What's Going have some terrible losing streaks from time to time.
That is true. Very streaky.
Yeah, right, exactly. My expectation is that it's going to be kind of a coin flip kind of draft because of See What's Going's draft style.
No, well, I mean, the team name fits. See What's Going. Let's see what happened. And hope for the best. And I mean, that's kind of his line in press conferences. He goes in there. He's like, we had our day. Le'Veon Bell did his thing, but at the same time, we just gotta take it 1 week at a time, and just see what happens. We'll see what's going. We'll see what's going. So,
right.
It fits them perfect.
He's not. To me, he's not the kind of owner that is very, very intentional about being conservative. he's the kind of owner that comes into the draft with a strong opinion, right? And he is 100% after that strategy, whatever it is.
Right.
And that's why I say it's going to be either or. Like, there shouldn't be. I do not expect him to have a mediocre season this year. It'll either be great or awful.
All right, moving on to the next board bet I have is for the Dusters. Now, Mike, this team 8-6, 8-6, 7-6-1, 9-5, 8-6 again, 12-2 back in 2011. 8 wins, more or less.
Well, now, I mean, it's difficult for me to answer that question.
Well, what do you expect? You expect greatness, but over the years, 8 seems to be a favorite number for you.
I will take the over on 8.5.
You'll take the over on 8.5.
And speaking as an owner and not as a commentator, I have confidence that I have developed a level of discipline and judgment, especially in the auction format, that gives me a competitive advantage over people who only think about fantasy 3 or 4 months out of the year.
Okay, that's legit. I mean, you have the proven record. I mean, when you have what's considered a down season, it's either it went horrible as far as you had 3 or 4 multiple injuries, or things just didn't pan out the way you would like. I mean, a couple of those 8-6 records, you finished second and would barely miss the wild card. So it and you would miss it by the points for factor or a head-to-head factor. So even though 8 has been one of your favorite numbers, it hasn't been they just had 8 wins and they got fortunate to get the 8 wins. No, they got 8 strong wins and just they couldn't get the 9th one or some unforeseen circumstances where they didn't make the points to beat the tiebreaker because they lost by 20. So yeah, your 8's a strong 8. So.
Well, and I try to draft in such a way as to give myself the best chance every week. Like, I try to put a team together so that any one thing going wrong, we don't really care. We can lose our starting running back or our starting quarterback 6 weeks of the year and be just fine. So when we have a down season where we get less than 8 or if we have a down season where we get 7 wins and it's just looking like we fell off that year, it's because multiple things went wrong too quickly for me to make adjustments. Which is why I'm confident that with everybody in the league starting from no keepers and a $200 auction budget, especially with the fab in place this year, I believe I've done the preparation to put me over the top. I'm expecting more than 8 wins.
Sounds good. We're moving on to the London Knights. London Knights, like I said, they had a rough year last year, 2-12. I have for my board bet that they will at least triple their wins from last year. So over and under on Knights, 6 wins.
I don't know enough about how they draft or how they think. I think I might only met Kyle once. Tell me something. What were their quarterbacks for the last 4 years?
Well, on the contrary, let's take a look-see. I think I can only give you the past 3 years, just because they weren't in it in 2013. But we know last year was Carson Palmer. Let's see here. Carson Palmer, Joe Flacco, and computer moving a little slow. Their quarterback. So 2014 was Joe Flacco, 2015 was Drew Brees, and 2016 was Carson Palmer.
I'll take the over on. I'll take the over on 6.5. I think that they can. I think that if they're learning, if they're paying attention, and they're not just doing this for fun, I think they can pull out of that 2-win pit of despair. But the reason I ask you about quarterbacks is because generally the sign of an owner who has matured or learned something from their experience, if you can't see anything else, I want to see how they choose their quarterback.
Yeah.
Because if they overvalue their position, that tells me they either haven't been trying long or they haven't been thinking hard.
Right. And in 2015, he did have the number 4th ranked wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, the number 7th ranked tight end. The Patriots so he had Marshawn Lynch, and how did we know he was on retire? So it's just it was.
We didn't know it, we could know.
Exactly. So I'm gonna go over 2, but I say it'll get 7 wins. I say it'll get 7.
Yeah, that sounds like a reasonable number, and I say that because I feel like if he's only been around 3 years, it's about that time for him to turn the corner.
Right.
I think 7 is more likely than 4 or 5.
Right.
And something bad happens to somebody every season. So between him profiting from his own added experience and taking advantage of whatever team stumbles, I think he can get to 7.
Now, reasonable doubt had a rough year last year in the division. He only went in divisional games 1-5. Now, he's been known to be very good in the division. In the other 2 years in the same division, he had at least 3 wins. Especially the 8 and 6 year he went to the playoffs, he actually had 5 of his wins in the division. And as you know, you build your team, at least in the NIFL, the NFL, you build your team to win your division first, your conference second, and the Super Bowl third. So, over or under 3 divisional wins for a reasonable doubt?
Well, I mean, I guess that depends on how much you believe, how much you want to hedge on your London Knights prediction, right? Because we can't all do well. I'm going to say under. I'm going to say under until they show me something different.
Okay, I'm going to take right at 3 wins, and here's why. I feel like Doubt can understand how the division is going and can set his team up to win the division. I only say this because I had experience against Doubt the last 3 years. Doubt's team, for some reason, every time it came toward a divisional game, he was a tough out. Even if he was unlucky and went 1-5 like last year. And he had a pretty unfortunate season. He actually was ranked ranked 5th in points against. So as much as a lot of points were scored against him, at the same time, he was last in points for at 1,539. And I'm sure they don't want to feel that way again. They'll try to come back with a vengeance Now, winning 3 divisional games does not mean that they'll finish with a winning record. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but see, here's the thing, right? You tell me the guy was 5th in points against, which technically is the top half, but it's also the middle third.
Right.
You know, it's rough, but it's not. It is not so bad that, like, I wouldn't have expected it to be overcomeable. Like, I don't know. With me and Terrace in the same division and expecting improvement from London, it's hard for me to say that he's going to split his divisional games. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I need him to show me just a little bit more. Just a little bit.
Just a couple quick notes on this division. This division does hold 2 CHFFL championships, both of them by Mike, owner of the Dusters. Playoff appearances, 1 for Reasonable Doubt, 1 for See What's Going On for Knights, and 3 for the Dusters. Moving on, running back board bet time. We got 3 interesting ones, and I got 1 fire starter here. As you know, off of previous text messages I got over the past 2 weeks, the Dak Prescott comment was the fire starter, obviously, since, maybe more than half of this league is Cowboys fans. But you know me, I could give 2 fucks. Anyway, so starting out, Mike, you got an interesting one about Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, man. I think. Well, I guess I shouldn't say sleeping on now because the fantasy analysts have kind of let the cat out of the bag. But I want to bet. Well, tell me what you think. Over under on 9.5 touchdowns for Marshawn Lynch this year. Rushing touchdown.
Rushing, I'm gonna say over. And the reason why I'm going to say over is because I don't remember the number of touchdowns they got off of what's inside the 5. Let me look real quick because I actually got some. On my travels to North Carolina, I did happen to pick up a fantasy football magazine because I wasn't about to sit there and just, look at the back of someone's head. But Latavius Murray last year had 12 touchdowns, and he only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games, and he was active for 2 of them. In 10 of the games he played, he had less than 60 yards rushing, but had 12 touchdowns. That's short yardage work right there.
Yeah, somebody else did the first 80 for you.
Exactly. And Marshawn, when he was with Seattle, he was like ranked 4th or 5th in yards after contact, but Seattle's offensive line was so horrible that he was like 48th in yards that he got before he got touched. And He's going from that line to the Oakland Raiders line, who, let's be real, they're not the best, but them boys are some hogs.
Only people who have an offensive line that's clearly probably better than the Raiders is the Cowboys, and that really might depend more on whether you're talking about running or passing.
Right. I mean, the Raiders' offensive line is set up just like Jack Del Rio. Mauling, aggressive, get them physical yards. Push the pile. So I expect way more than 9. If anything, I expect. Latavius got 12 last year, and then Jalen Richard got 1, and then DeAndre Washington got 2. So there was a total of 14 rushing touchdowns by running backs. I expect Marshawn to get at least 12, 13. I say 13. I say he gets 13 touchdowns.
I'm with you. We don't have no bet there. We're saying the same thing. I expect Marshawn Lynch to be a strong candidate to lead the league in rushing touchdowns.
Okay,
Maybe not rushing yards, Maybe not even to be a top 5 running back overall, just because we're playing in PPR and he can catch, but he's never been known for being fast.
Yeah.
So like I still expect your Le'Veon Bells and David Johnsons to be, and even your Zeke Elliott to be better running back overall. But
Yeah.
I think Marshawn Lynch is going to spend all game in the end zone this year.
He spent all game in the end zone. That means it's going to be a bunch of handshakes.
Like if the Raiders get to the red zone, I have trouble seeing how they don't score. If they get inside of the 20-yard line, and this is speaking as a former Raider fan, right? There's no homerness involved because as far as I'm concerned, the franchise can suck dick. But Marshawn Lynch is the best power running back I have seen since Sean Alexander, maybe Eddie George.
Okay.
Like he just runs over people.
Yeah, he does.
And he doesn't need to be moving that fast to do so. But yeah, no, I'm definitely taking the over on 9.5 touchdowns on the ground for Marshawn Lynch.
Over or under 13 for Lynch?
Over.
All right. You take the over.
I think it is more likely that he gets 14. Well, no. Let me quote. I expect him to get 14 touchdowns.
Okay. And I expect him to get over 11 but under 13. So 12. So you say 14. 12. You say 14, I say 12. All right, moving on to the next one. A board bet I got here. A lot of rookie running backs was drafted by the NFL this year. And, there always comes a time, where your favorite players, henceforth basketball, your Kobe's, your Dirk Nowitzki's, your Tim Duncans, people you grew up watching, ball, they have to leave. It's just, Father Time never loses.
Oh, yeah, he's undefeated.
He's undefeated. And it's kind of come that time, running back career is obviously a little shorter, but I think that this year, and doing the over-under, I'm taking the over on 2.5 rookies making the top 15 in fantasy football, in NFL, running-wise, top 15.
So, we talking Christian McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook?
I'm talking Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, Marlon Mack, and if Fournette can stay healthy, I think Fournette too. I know now Fournette, don't get me wrong, is higher than Marlon Mack and Cook and Mixon on the rankings, but out of all 5 of them, he's got the worst injury history. So as long as he stays healthy, I mean, he would be a top 2 lock with McCaffrey in that top 15. But I think out of those 5 rookie running backs, I think at least 3 of them will be in the top 15. What do you think?
I'm gonna take the under.
You gonna take
the under? And I'm gonna take the under on 3.5, and here's why. I think the only way Fournette makes it to the top 15 is if he plays 12 games.
Right.
I don't know if whatever's wrong with his foot is supposed to stay that way. Like, I don't know if we expect him back inside the first month, but I think that's the only way he gets the volume he needs. Because the Jaguars' defense is improved, but they're still not the Broncos, right?
No,
so
right,
by the time the third or the fourth quarter gets here, they're going to have to throw the ball.
Right.
If they have already gone a month without the services of Leonard Fournette, by that time, their strategy will have to have adapted. And they'll be trying to figure out how to win other ways. So when he comes back, he's going to get his touches, but he's not going to get the volume he needs, in my opinion.
Okay.
Dalvin Cook? Sure. Fine. Whatever. I I think the best bet now that Leonard Fournette is hurt to be a top 15, top 10 outstanding running back this year is Christian McCaffrey.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, McCaffrey, he's set up to pretty much challenge for top 5. It's just
like we've been expecting Jonathan Stewart to keel over for 3 years.
Yeah.
He's hung around. He's even had his fantasy zombie moment. But I think that even in his prime, Christian McCaffrey is a little bit more talented
Yeah.
than Stewart was. And now that Jonathan Stewart is a year older and a step slower and, you know, they need other things to happen. And never mind if he actually gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. I think Christian McCaffrey is your best bet for sure. So I'll take the under on 3. I'm expecting 2.
All right, and I'll take the over on 3. Adrian Peterson, what you got about that one, Mike?
Man, maybe I'm short-sighted, but I don't understand why people think Mark Ingram, just because he's been there, is a serious threat to Adrian Peterson's status. Adrian Peterson is a legend in his own time.
Right.
I expect that at the end of the season, Adrian Peterson will have received 60% of the carries for the Saints. And I expect him to be a top 10 running back. I think we're going to see a timeshare just because NFL coaches don't see the need to give a running back 30 touches if they don't have to. If they have to, who can play, they want to put them both on the field to keep them both fresh. But Adrian Peterson just went to the NFC North with like one dome to NFC North only got one dome, right?
No, you talking about the NFC North? Yeah, they had 2 domes, Minnesota and now they had 2. Now they had 2 domes. They only had one with Detroit.
Well, for the majority of Adrian Peterson's career, they only had one.
No, two. Because before, remember, he had the HHH Metrodome where Randy Moss used to show out in.
Wait. The Vikings did always play in a dome. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I had a blind moment. But whatever. I think AP is going to be running in a dome against worse defenses and better quarterbacks.
Right.
So the Saints are going to be incentivized to give him the ball. And I don't think there's any doubt that he's a better ball carrier than Mark Ingram. It's not to say that Mark Ingram is a bad player, but he's not Adrian Peterson.
No, he's not.
Never has been. He wasn't Adrian Peterson in college. So yeah, man, I'm gonna say 60% of the touches for the Saints and top 10 running back.
You know what? I agree with you. You ain't got no struggle over here. Yeah.
I think we're gonna look back on this year and wonder why we thought that it would be a traditional timeshare down the middle type split.
Right. And Sean Payton's been known to just randomly do a timeshare for no reason, but we all know who the better running back was. But he ain't never had a running back like Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, I mean, Adrian Peterson is the kind of dude that's fully capable of 30 touches in a game, 8 or 9 games out of the year.
Yeah.
Like, and Drew Brees is going to be the best quarterback he's ever played with.
Yep.
You know, there's a big difference between 8 in the box versus Tavares Jackson and 8 in the box versus Drew Brees.
Right.
Like, I've been told that my expectations for Lynch are too high. And that might also be accurate about my expectations for Adrian Peterson. But man, as far as I can tell, that could get real ugly down there in the NFC South. Drew Brees might not throw for 5,000 yards this year. to get that kind of ugly.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so last board bet that I have here, Ezekiel Elliott. So in the news, Ezekiel Elliott got suspended for 6 games. He did officially appeal for it. It was yesterday, I believe. So they're going through the appeal process right now. But I'm gonna let everybody in this league know, and the Cowboys fan know, I'm putting my money on it. You know, my imaginary money. Don't get cute, any of y'all. Ezekiel Elliott will still be suspended for 6 games. He will not win the appeal. Yeah, just live with it, Cowboys. Let Zeke listen to me, Zeke. Just do your time. Think about it. You know, meditate on it. Don't drink on it because you're gonna end up doing some more stupid stuff. Take your time. Think about life. Get it in order. Come back. Run for the 1,200 yards I know you're capable of the last, however many games you got. I mean, you might not be able to get 1,200 yards in only 8 games, 9 games, but still. You'll be fine. Just take the suspension.
I mean, 6 games. 6 games does seem like a lot. But the last few years the NFL has been hyper vigilant about their image and making it known that they don't abide abuse or whatever. Even though they did let that one kicker off the hook pretty easy, and Greg Hardy and that defensive lineman for the Niners, I guess they don't care that much. But isn't there video of Zeke Elliott's thing? Because that does seem to be a determining factor.
I mean, they had video of something that they could have used for blackmail, but I mean, we only know.
You saw what they did to Ray Rice because there was video.
Right. Well, Zane got released, banned. ain't been on a team since. And right. The thing is like, I mean, I was sitting there, I was like, did Zeke not know that Girls Gone Wild is done?
Yeah, right. Like these. Do you remember the other one? Right here, did he lift up that lady's shirt or something? And
yeah.
The party?
Yeah, the St. Patty's Day parade here in Dallas. Yeah, just expose the woman.
Like, wait a minute, bro. You can't. It's not. No.
And the thing was, it happened while the investigation was going. So, besides, he got suspended for violating the NFL personal conduct policy. It wasn't for the domestic violence, even though it was part of it. It was for violating NFL personal conduct. He did a ton of stuff.
He's done that on multiple occasions. That's the thing. Like, if they lump all of that into one suspension, yeah, I don't see how he gets out of the appeal.
Exactly. That's why we're trying to tell people at work. You know what I'm saying? But they don't want to hear me because I'm only 20. I'm only young. And everybody over there in their 40s and 50s. But it is what it is. Anyway, yeah, that's my board bet. Ezekiel Elliott will be suspended for 6 games, and Cowboys fans will just have to live with it. It'll be fine. You'll still got number 1 rated offensive line, serviceable running backs in Alfred Morris and Darren McFadden. Y'all be okay.
If you draft, in our league we're gonna do an auction, but if you get Darren McFadden for like $22, you can go ahead and still spend $40 or $50 on Zeke.
Right.
Because Darren McFadden plus Zeke Elliott is probably gonna be the number 1 running back in fantasy this year.
Well, I still expect Zeke to go high because remember, this is for the next 3 years. This isn't just for, we don't redraft the whole thing every year. You get to keep 2, and as long as Zeke, is going to keep his mind right and stay out of trouble and not violent. I ain't saying I do. I say as long as whoever drafts him does.
Remember, we still talking about a guy who lifted up a woman's shirt at a parade while he was under investigation for something else. Like, this man has not shown pristine judgment in his short career.
Hey, and Randy Moss proved too he didn't show pristine judgment, and look what he did with the Patriots. Anyway,
Randy Moss didn't lift up no woman's shirt. Randy Moss did not commit a crime.
You're right, he did not.
I mean, Ben Roethlisberger raped a woman and he's white and a quarterback, so he got away with it.
Anywho, as we move on this podcast. Yeah, Big Ben has escaped a lot. Remember, he even escaped the what was it, motorcycle crash where he went face first in the windshield.
Right, he even got away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and then 2 weeks after that, he walked on the field and said, "I'm ready," and everybody at Pittsburgh was like, "Yeah, that's our quarterback." If he can survive a moving car with no helmet,
right?
I think he'll be okay on the football field. Anyway, that's all we have for this week's edition of the podcast. I want to thank Mike once again for making this happen. Like I said, we're going to try to do this weekly. Last week we weren't able to, but we'll be back next week to talk about the West Division, my division, with two of my biggest rivals, Italy Thunder, old Justin, and Houston Shadows. I can't seem to shake the Houston Shadows. Mike, every division draw we get, he is in my division, and I just can't stand it.
You gotta embrace it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna embrace my foot across that booty cheek. That's what I'm gonna do. Just like I did last year. Yeah, you remember Shadows? I went 2-0 against you, bro. 2-0. And I ain't even gonna mention Landry because Landry, I don't even. He ain't nothing to me. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and commit some trash talking. The Kings remember how it went down last year. He might have beat me twice in the division, but who won the division? Yeah. Scoreboard. Anyway, that's all we have for this week. So like I said, we'll be back next week with wide receiver and tight end board bets, along with the West.
We got to talk about Sammy Watkins and Tyler Eifert, but we're going to get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. All right, but signing off for Big Mike, I'm Elufusjames. Peace out.